Module 10 here, thinking about adjectives. We are making progress now through the nouns and into adjectives, definite article we've covered. So now on to words that describe nouns. Soon we'll be into verbs and putting sentences and paragraphs together and thinking big picture and going deeper with deep Greek. Excited to be with you here. Adjectives are so important for preaching and for exegesis toward that end, so I want to note those ideas. We will look here at the ideas that Kostenberger, Merkel, and Plummer have arranged for us in terms of the general uses of the adjective and then some specific uses here. We will look at accordance and some statistics, then into Colossians itself, and think about exegesis and these adjectives, do a bit of text criticism toward the end, and as always some vocab, and review that as we looked at with the vocab list in Module 9, as well with the article. Let me pray for us and ask God's blessing on our work here. Lord, strengthen us. Thank you so much for these students, the work that they have put in already in going through nouns and the article, and I pray that you will give them encouragement now in thinking about adjectives and help them to remember the basic ideas of adjectives, even from mounts. Give them time to look back over those ideas in matching case number and gender, to thinking about the way adjectives are used generally in forms, and even as we review a bit of that here, help them, give them strength with vocab and with reading aloud your word in Greek. We ask this in Christ's name, amen. Adjectives then. We have a couple of basic designations, predicate and attributive, and we recognize these in relation to the article. If an article is present on the noun being modified, then the adjective is a predicate adjective, and it states the quality of the subject. Here, definite article, ha, on theos, pistos ha theos, God is faithful, and pistos, the predicate adjective. If there is no article, and when KMP here state no article, they mean on neither the noun nor the adjective. Both are anarthrous. Here, context determines meaning, and the adjective can be a predicate adjective, as here with Romans 4:8. Makarios aner hu me lagistai kurios hamartion. Blessed is the man. That's the quality of this man. This man is blessed, to whom the Lord will not count his sin. So predicate with the article, that is on the noun, or if neither the adjective nor the substantive are articular. On to attributive then. An adjective that ascribes a particular quality to a noun or substantive, and here with the article, and the article is on the adjective, not the noun. Ka alethanos theos, the true God, the true God. If neither the adjective nor the substantive have an article, just as we saw with Makarios on aner, matching case number gender, no article either way. Context determines meaning. Here predicate, here attributive. Polon, struthion, diapherete humes. You are worth more than many sparrows. Many describing sparrows. Diapherete, you are worth more than. Here attributive. Substantival use of the adjective. This is when an adjective takes the characteristics of the noun and often has the article, and you are the Holy one. These are significant homiletically, and sometimes they function as the object of a preposition, and that's more general use, but they can be in preaching significant. You are the Holy One, this substantival adjective, and it takes the characteristics of a noun. Again, I am not aware of many where there isn't a definite article, I think, unless it's an object of a preposition. Otherwise, nearly always has a definite article. Just a clue for us. Adverbially, the use of the adjective to modify a verb rather than a noun. And you can see here with Matthew 26:39, and those we cover in mounts a bit as well. I'm going to move on then to the uses of the adjective to show kind or degree. The ideas here do not replace the general uses of the adjective. They just describe the adjective in a bit more detail and nuance. Most adjectives are a positive adjective. They list something about the noun in its kind. You can see here with Romans 7:14 the example, "Cha nomos pneumatikos estin." The law is spiritual. Well, just look at this in terms of the ideas here, predicate or attributive. Here we have the law, spiritual. There is a definite article. It's on the noun, but not the adjective. That means the adjective is a predicate adjective. So here's the basic, the general idea. And now if we're going to get a bit more specific, we recognize that this pneumatikos just states a positive attribute or kind about the law. A designation of kind. It is a spiritual law. So don't want you to think that these are different in the sense of an adjective has to be up here or down here. These are the general categories, and then we move down to the more specific. And nearly all adjectives would fall here. They're a positive statement. Good man, fast runner, and so forth. Just a positive statement. But adjectives, once we group them by kind, we group them then by degree. Imagine it this way. We group a number of track athletes by running this particular race. Say it's the 400, one lap around the track. Well, we then compare two runners or compare the whole field of runners. So we have a comparison and then a superlative, perhaps a winner amongst three or more entities or racers in that particular event. Good, better, best. So a positive statement. And then when Greek wants to sort of up the force of the adjective, it will compare, and it just adds a suffix, teros or eon, to a particular noun, and we have, or to a particular adjective rather, and those teros or eon are in the nominative, and so the case endings would just be appropriate for whatever case the noun is in, be it genitive, dative, accusative, singular, or plural, but that just modifies by way of comparing the degree, if you will. There's a sense in which there's an increased intensification here from positive to comparative to superlative. So teros and eon for comparative, tetos and istos for superlative. Again, we're thinking about quality or degree here, and this is even further. Good, better, best. A good runner, a better runner amongst two, the best runner amongst a whole field. And we have Luke 8:28 here as an example. Tiamoi kai soy, Jesu huioi tu theu tu hoops istu. What do you have to do with me, Jesus, you Son of the Most High God? Hoopsistu, the Most High, the superlative God, the God over all. You can see textbook pages 171, 172 for more specific qualifications between comparative and superlative. One other note, the comparative genitive of comparison often follows that adjective, which we have here, mu, and the a particle meaning or than. Comparison, teros, superlative, tetos, istos. So it's just a degree of intensification here. And then we have elative, the highest, the use of the comparative superlative to describe an intensification of this positive idea. The way the elative works, here we have the comparative form, but there's no other item to compare in the context. So it is comparative in form, but since there's no other item to compare it with, it becomes elative, and we only know this through the context. The same with the superlative. It has a form, istos, see the form here of superlative, but there are no other items for comparison in the context. Therefore, it is elative. So elative is just a form of a comparative or superlative, but there is no other item, nor are there other items for that particular adjective and noun combination to be compared to. So elative, the very best. Special cases, these are sort of rhetorical in nature. Though the adjective lacks the intensifying suffix, the adjective communicates the intensified idea in a particular context. So the positive notion here for comparative, there's no teros or eon, yet there is a comparison. So normally we think comparative, we want to see that teros or eon, perhaps a genitive comparison, or the particle a, or than. But that's not present, yet there is a comparison going on. So there's no comparative grammatical feature, but there's a comparison going on, but it's just the positive form for the comparative idea. Positive form for superlative idea. In the context, we're talking about the highest degree of something. Che megale kai prote entele, which we see here, the commandment, the great. This is just a positive statement. There is no istos or tetos, and yet that's obviously the way it functions in the context. Comparative for superlative, same idea. Meson de tuton che agape, but the greatest, we have meson is a comparative, but it's obviously a superlative. There's more than one idea being identified here. The greatest of these is love amongst all the gifts. It's not just the better way or the better gift. There's more than one involved, and so it's superlative. Good for better, good for best. Better, comparative for best, greatest or highest, if you will. Take a look through the textbook as you review this and perhaps watch it again. I have read a few of these. I'll read a bit more in Colossians. Again, encourage you to stop the video and read after me. Hopefully that's helpful for you. I want to look for a moment here at Colossians in accordance and just look at one adjective that is helpful for us to think about adjectives not only in form, as we have noted here in the chapter summaries, and the teros and eon for comparative, tetos and istos for superlative. So we have these grammatical features that help us to think about the intensification of a particular adjective. But we need to keep in mind that adjectives have meaning lexically, and those meanings also communicate degree. So it's not just the suffixes applied to a particular adjective, but we need to be sensitive to the actual lexical designation of an adjective, and that we understand especially through pos, all. And pos, by its very nature, indicates a superlative idea. Harris notes this on page 27 with Colossians 1:9, and we'll look at that here in just a moment. But Colossians, here Paul uses pos very, very frequently. I'm going to just back up here a bit. This is the list of Paul's letters and an analysis of pos in them. I'm going to magnify this just a bit here for us and run through here Paul's letters. You can see pos occurring there in 1 Corinthians 12 a good bit. Here's Romans, not quite as frequently. Just pressing on here so you can see the way that the small word pos, all, pervades a couple of chapters of Colossians here. Spikes some in Ephesians, but look at Colossians. Steady here. Here we begin Colossians, and by midway through chapter 1 into chapters 2 and 3, and this helps us to recognize the big ideas Paul is writing with. Christ, head over all, everything under him, all through him, all in him. So many places, and here just red, bold font and underline in our search. We will look at a few of these in a moment, but just look how frequently pos is used, obviously with the various cases in context here, but over and over through chapters 1, 2, and 3, we see pos. Want to pull up here in Colossians our exercise, the open book exercise for modules 9 and 10 here, and think about several instances of pos in Colossians. So grab your Greek text and let's work through this together, thinking of the superlative way that Paul writes here. Dia tuta kai hemes, aphes hemeras ekusamen, u pauamatha huper humon, prasukamonoi kai itumenoi, hina plerothete, ten epignos into thelematos atu, in passe Sophia. What would you put here? In passe Sophia. Here's in with the dative, Sophia, passe attributive, in all wisdom. Again, passe almost always, unless it's substantive, it's always attributive. It doesn't function as a predicate, even if it doesn't have the definite article and the noun does. Passe or pos, that exception to the normal rule, it functions attributive. All wisdom and sunese. Here we have double use. As Harris notes, passe likely modifies Sophia and sunese, just as pneumatike modifies Sophia and sunese. All spiritual wisdom and understanding. Paul is racking up the adjectives and applying them to multiple nouns here. And all wisdom and understanding. Peripatesai axios to kuriou eis pason ariskion. Pason modifying ariskion, and panti ergo agatho. Here we have ergo, the noun, modified by panti, attributive, and agatho, also attributive of ergo. Ergo here gets sort of double attribution. All works, good works. Carpophruntes kai axon omenoi te epignose tu theou, bearing fruit and growing in the knowledge of God, and passe here again, with all power strengthened. Passe modifying duname, dunamumenoi, katata kratas tes doxes autu es pason, hupomonein kai makrothrumion. All hupomonein, endurance and patience, pason modifying both of these attributively. Just a scope there of the way the adjectives are used, and notice the pervasive use of pas, all, but not just in describing the scope and the effects of the gospel in Paul's prayers, but the greatness of Christ here. In the Christ hymn. Hos est an ekon tu theou tu oratu. Here we have hus hos, who is the image of the invisible God. Ekon is a predicate nominative, who is the image of tu theou tu or atu. Here's our adjective, definite article, attributive modifying God, and here God is the emphasis. The adjective taking a secondary position and God emphatic here. If this were reversed, the adjective would have a bit of emphasis. The image of God. He's the image of God, the invisible God. Prototikos, firstborn. And notice we have a predicate nominative and a predicate adjective, who is firstborn, the image of the God, the firstborn over all creation, this genitive of subordination, passes modifying ktiseos. I'll let you continue on and work through the adjectives here, but just continue to notice the pervasive use of pas and pon. Let's think about our Greek texts for a few moments here. I've pulled up Colossians 1:28. I want to look at this with you, and then in Vaticanus and Sinaiticus for a couple of moments, or excuse me, P46 and Vaticanus, and then do some vocab. Look here first at, again, we're noticing how often pas is used. Let's begin at the end of verse 27, and we'll read and look at those original texts, or the early manuscripts. Cha est in Christos en humin, which is Christ in you, he elpis tes doxes, the hope of glory. Han hemes kat angelamen. Note kat angelamen here written as a verb, nuthetuntes, warning. We proclaim him, a bit of a redundancy, warning. Panta anthropon kai didaskantes, panta anthropon, panta. And here in verse 28, some manuscripts lack this second panta. Likely because it's written once here before anthropon. We have the same substantive here, and just logically the idea carries down, but many texts have it just as it is, and panta anthropon here as well. But just notice how frequently panta here is panta anthropon, over and over again. Paul categorizing humanity, categorizing everything under Christ in Colossians, and all of this emphasizes our security in him, in his greatness. Let's notice a couple of ideas here with regard to katangelamen and nuthut, these participles that follow, nuthetuntes and didaskantes. Here in P46 and in Vaticanus. Here we are in P46. Ha estin, here's our nomina sacra, which is Christ en humin he elpis tes doxes, the hope, which is Christ in you, the hope of glory. Him we katongel. Look at katong, there's the first gamma. And we go over here, katongel on tes. Not katongelon, but katongelon tes. Nuthetun tes here. Likely that this scribe, and this is not noted in Nestle-Aland, they don't note every nuance or every variant of every manuscript, just the most substantive ones, but you see this here as you go through. The scribe wrote a participle for katongelo, likely because of the surrounding participles, nuthetuntes, panta, anthro, pon kai didaskon tes, panta anthropon. It's likely that he just wrote the nominative masculine plural participle katongelontis because of the two matching participles surrounding. You see in Vaticanus different ha estin, that is Christ, again nomina sacra here, Christ in you, he elpis tes doxes, han him, hemes we katongel amen. And here the new is again written above the line. This is the new, and then nuthetun tes here, panta anthropon, kai didaskon tes, panta anthropon, the panta written over and over here, clearly not left out, but there is the katongel amen, the new, just the line above the epsilon, and then nuthetun tes here. Panta, over and over again, Paul's emphatic work here. Some vocab. Again, these are from chapter 5, the article and the adjective. Saw these last week. Just continue to work on them. A couple of adjectives here. Asthenes, lethes. Just your vocab, keep up. Again, all vocab quizzes are cumulative, closed book. Make sure that you have no resources. There's no substitute for just going over vocab. Suniemi, I understand. Teleo, so important for the New Testament, as well as its cognates, teleos. So keep pressing on. Proud of you.